Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of Guild Chat. I'm still not Ruby. She's very sick. Hope you feel better soon, Ruby. Please feel better soon, please. But I am here today with Colin Johansson, our game director. We're here to talk a bit about our beta weekend event, which just started.
Just turned on.
Yeah,
All right.
Our last beta weekend event before launch. Super exciting. And then we're also going to just recap Guild Week, since we've been on air this whole week talking about Guild Week features. So let's start with, I guess, beta weekend stuff.
Yeah.
So super exciting.
Here we are. We made it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a nice little surprise we got to throw in there. Obviously, all the elite specs are in. You can go play your masteries.
Scrapper hype.
Scrapper hype.
Yes.
The hammer, get it ready.
I'm so excited.
Druid hype. It's all in there.
Can we get on with this so I can go back to my desk? That'd be great.
All right. We'll make this as fast as possible.
All right, cool.
I feel the same way. Canopy in the jungle. You can actually get up into the highest tiers now and fly around up there. Some of the bosses that come out at night. Bosses only come out at night. The bosses at night that are up in the canopy, you get to see. There's a lot of fun stuff in Verdant Brink that you can check out now. Cool. Stronghold is back.
Yes.
And a little surprise we tucked in there. You can raid a little bit.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right where you actually load into the beta weekend event, the raid entrance is just to your right around the corner, maybe 5 feet away. And yeah, you can join up, form parties of 10 using the new Squad UI. That's in for this weekend. So World versus World folks, you can test out Squad UI with huge parties in World versus World. You can test the Squad UI for rates and get in there and check that out as well. And yeah, quick reminder on the raid stuff. This is just the first encounter of the first wing of the first raid.
Right.
So do not take this as indicative of the amount of content that is in a raid. Obviously, there are, I think the first raid wing has a total of 4 encounters. So this is just the first one of those. And the first raid is made up of 3 distinct wings. So, there is more content to raiding than just the first little encounter you get to test today. And obviously part of this testing is it's an opportunity for us to get feedback.
It's a test.
It's a beta weekend. Hey.
Yeah.
And to iterate on this based on the feedback we get out of this weekend. I think it's probably been pretty obvious by now. These first 2 beta weekends have led to a ton of change in the game.
Thank you for that.
Yes, really appreciate it. And this 3rd beta weekend is really our final chance to get a lot of feedback on this content and make iteration and changes before the expansion ships in some amount of time from now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Insane.
Elite specialization icons, I think, are in this weekend. So
Cool.
you'll actually be able to see each of the new icons for the elite specs, if I remember right. I think that got in for this weekend. And there's a bunch of other just cool, fun stuff that's in there, too, that you'll see. We're kind of at the point it's hard to keep track of what's in the beta weekend and what's not. So if you find other things, give us feedback on them. Let us know.
Yeah, super exciting. Cool. Well, we'll keep this quick then because we want to get to playing. Just to quickly recap for you, we've been talking all about guild features this week. We talked about the guild initiative headquarters, like expeditions, PvP missions, World v World missions. We've talked about the Lost Precipice Guild Hall. We showed a bit of that. We talked about scribing yesterday, and then building your own jumping puzzles, which are like
decorating.
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun. And then yesterday, I realized yesterday it was kind of like a meta day. Like we talked about, there was the arena, and we're ArenaNet. And then we talked about cross-guild chat on Guild Chat, the show. What?
Yeah.
Mind-blowing. So super good. But if you want to go back and check those episodes out, you can go to our YouTube channel, the Guild Wars 2 YouTube channel. We are putting those videos up as quickly as we can, so you can go check out that content. But for now, since we've been just talking all about guild stuff, we actually have collected a ton of questions from you guys.
Yeah, lots of great questions. Thanks, everybody. It's funny, guild halls, it's like a Russian doll. It's like there's features, and then you open it up, and there's more features, and then there's more features, and there's more and more and more deeper down you get. It blows me away how much stuff that team managed to build for guild halls. And I said this yesterday. I think it's an important thing to repeat is the guild team is not just a expansion team. They are a team that is in charge of supporting guilds for the future of Guild Wars 2.
Right.
And so the work they've done to build guild halls and provide all this awesome content, they will continue to work on guilds in the future, not just for future expansions, but also for live content as well,
right.
Which is really exciting if you love guilds. And you can see just how much they've already been able to do, and you can kind of picture where that could go in the future.
Yeah. Launch day is not the end.
No.
Yeah.
There will be at least a day after launch day.
Yes.
We'll see how much alcohol is drank around here after that.
Boy.
There may not be more than one day. But,
Yeah, we'll see. Rated T for teen.
Yes, do not drink, kids,
Anyway.
or anyone, and operate heavy machinery. Yes, please,
yes.
on to
So,
questions.
Anyway, but to reiterate your point, we have had an entire week dedicated to features for this because it's just a completely expansive feature set. So for now, though, this is a true Guild Chat episode. We're not really showing you much gameplay today. I'm gonna fire off questions for you, and then
let us chat.
And you can be like, Lizzie, you're the PR manager. Why did you ask this question to me live on camera in front of all these fans? And I can be like, #PR. I don't know. So let's get started.
All right.
Okay. Will there be new PvE guild missions coming with the launch of Heart of Thorns?
So with the launch of Heart of Thorns, no. We focused our development right now on making sure we had PvP and World versus World missions so that there are new missions for players of all preferences and game mode types. New PvE missions would be something that we would focus on post-hot launch. And we have a lot of great terrain and areas to work from for new missions, in particular with the jungle. So I'm really excited to see what the guild team can do with that in the future. But certainly new PvE missions and expanding PvP and World versus World missions will be one of their directives after the expansion ships. Getting new missions in was their focus for this expansion as well, but they really wanted to make sure PvP and World versus World were represented first and foremost before we move to the next chunks.
Excellent. Cool. Okay, say I'm part of a small guild, which only 3 people are generally active at the same time due to like time differences and stuff like that. Will it be possible for us to get a guild hall and gain favor? It's just a really super small guild.
Right. It is possible. We made the mission to acquire your guild hall assume 5 players and up, and it scales up to about 200. So you can run it with a lot of people or very few. Certainly, if you're really good players, I imagine you could do it with 3 players. There are people who solo dungeons in the game, so maybe even someone can.
That's hardcore.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you could do it with less than 5 if you really know what you're doing. And if not, go make some new friends or pay off some friends to be your friends for a day. And make sure that you run the mission, do your expedition, and capture the guild hall. Certainly, anything less than 5 there's a limit of the number of guild missions that you'll be able to run, the amount of favor you can earn. So it means building out your guild hall will come slower than if you are a guild of 5 or more players. We like to think of it as 5 or more basically makes sense as a guild, and less than 5 is really a group in our game. But we're not putting a hard gate on it that says if you have less than 5, you can't own a guild hall.
Right.
We don't check to see how many guild members you have, anything like that. The onus is on you to build out your guild hall and to acquire one. And if you want to do it with less than 5 and that's a game mode that you love, more power to you. But we're really focusing on supporting groups of 5 or more. We're balancing most of the costs, assuming 10 players. So if you are less than 10, it'll take a little bit longer for you to do some things. If you are more than that, things will generally be faster or easier for you to acquire. But you're going to need a lot more regular consumables to keep up with a much larger guild. So those things kind of offset themselves cost-wise too.
Makes a lot of sense. Cool. Is there a time gate on getting the guild items or halls?
So guilds have 2 things that restrict how fast you can build out the upgrades in them. The first one is favor, which is limited by how many guild missions you run per week, how much favor you're able to get. There's also a favor cap. So there's a maximum amount of favor that you can do per week, which helps smaller guilds keep up with bigger guilds. The second half of that is how much your mine is able to produce.
Okay.
And your mine produces Ethereum, which you can spend to purchase a bunch of key upgrades. And the mine has upgrades itself that allows it to produce more Ethereum and store more of it. So those are really the 2 biggest gating factors that even if you had a 500-person guild who did nothing but focus on getting every upgrade for your guild hall, you're still limited every week on the amount of favor and the amount of Ethereum you can produce to buy upgrades. Everything beyond that is basically gameplay. It's gold, it's how much you play, that uses a lot of consumables and currencies, things like that. So you're sent out in the world as a guild to do lots of fun, awesome stuff together and spend all of those currencies along with your favor and Ethereum to purchase upgrades.
Wow, that just sounds massive. It's almost like you could just play the game within the game.
It really is kind of a game within a game for those big social communities. I mean,
That's awesome.
we view it as our end game social progression.
Yeah.
And it is a system not only that will have tons of progression, ballpark about 9 months Total, just in favor and Ethereum gating. Gating's maybe not the right term. Well, it's probably the right term. It takes, if you are doing the maximum amount of stuff and you are earning the maximum amount of favor in Ethereum per week, it would take about 9 months to purchase all of the upgrades total that we're putting in the guild hall the day we ship. That doesn't include things that get added live later on too.
Okay. I think there's actually a question about that. About the timing, how it takes about 6 to 9 months to unlock all the upgrades and everything. Are you talking about a guild with 10 very active members, or does a guild with like 200 members, would that take up to, like, is the timing different based on the size of your guild?
So right now we're aiming for around 9 months. May get a little faster, a little slower based on how playtesting goes over the next few weeks as we continue to iterate on that. But somewhere in the ballpark of 6 to 9 months in favor in Ethereum gain. So if your mine is producing at the maximum rates that it could be in a given week,
no matter the size of your guild?
No matter the size of your guild, those two factors limit it. So the fastest any guild could do it is in that like 6 to 9 month time frame to get all of the upgrades and get their guild hall up to like level 80, I think is maybe the maximum. 70 to 80 we're going to end up shipping with. Wow. That's a lot of levels and a ton of upgrades that you're going to be able to get in that time. So every week you're constantly going to be getting new upgrades. Don't feel like it's like we're going to go a week and we can't do anything. Every week you'll be able to get new upgrades. So that's the fastest time it could take. Cool. If you were a smaller guild and you're not able to keep up with some of the other resource costs of like, gold costs or currency costs, it could take longer than that. And like I said, we're balancing those costs, the gold and currency and everything, around about a 10-player average guild, and using that to balance the cost of everything. So for larger guilds, those things will not be all that expensive, but we really want to make sure that this is an approachable system for every guild. And the way the larger guilds will get offset in all of that is because they have hundreds of members, they need to buy a lot more of all of the consumable items you use over and over again, which means they will still have to have everyone constantly contributing to keep up with the number of consumables and things that a larger guild needs.
Okay, cool. That definitely clears that up. Cool. Let's see here. If I'm invited to another guild hall, awesome, nailed it. And it is the hall that my guild does not choose. Can I get that hall's specific armor or weapon skins if that guild has everything related to it unlocked? Or do I need to be a part of that guild?
So in our original blog, we had announced that we were going to have a unique set for each guild hall, and you had to do a bunch of, I think maybe convoluted is the right term, steps to get through the point that you could build the armor or weapon for that specific guild hall. Right. Ultimately, we decided to go away from that. We felt like it was too confusing, and so we've really simplified the whole resonance process, and we actually showed that off live on stream yesterday, and it's a much simpler form now where you play guild missions and you can get resonance. You can also trade old influence for resonance, and you don't have to do a bunch of other stuff to go through that process. As a result, we made the vendors all sell the different sets together. There is a subset of things where you need to go to each hall. If I remember correctly, each hall is a vendor that sells different items that you need to buy, but it means that your guild doesn't have to swap between guild halls. You could, if we own one of them, another guild could own another one. You could go there and buy some of the other ingredients from them, or harvest nodes in their guild hall to get all the other pieces you need to build them. Oh, cool. But you don't actually, to make the purchase, your guild itself does not need to own both guild halls. Okay. You can go to other guilds to do that.
Oh, cool. Thanks for clearing that up. Yep. Alrighty. Not all of us are on the same server. Will we be able to do World v. World guild missions together? If so, how's that going to work?
You will not, no. World versus World currently is still gated by the worlds that you play on. As John posted in our forums a month or two ago, as we look at solutions for some of the core things behind World versus World that we want to deal with, like night capping and population balance, I think it's fair to assume that all things are... This isn't my line. Mike Z, thanks for saying on the table and somehow that getting put on me all those years ago. This is the first time I've ever said it before, I think, so I'm going to say it right now in tribute to Mike Z. All things are on the table when it comes to the future of World versus World and solving problems like that. And certainly some of the solutions that we may look at could include helping solve problems like that as well. But for today, the day we launch, World versus World is very much... to do your missions, you must be on the same world together, or you must go to Edge of the Mists if it is a mission that can be done in Edge of the Mists. So there is a workaround in Edge, which is one more reason why Edge exists, and it's a place that you and your entire guild can go play together. So not every mission works in Edge of the Mists, though. There are some you have to go to World versus World directly and do in Borderlands or Eternal Battleground.
Okay. Cool. Do you need some water? I feel like I'm just
should I have some water?
I don't know.
My voice is holding up way better than TwitchCon.
No, you're doing great. I just feel like I'm just firing these off. So
It makes a
Let's
huge
go.
difference not having like 2 straight days of coming from every booth around you that
We
you're
can
trying to
make
yell
that
over.
happen.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's save that for launch night.
All right. Oh, I'm into it. I'm into it. You heard it here first, folks. Can you tell us a bit more about Scribes? Do they only do guild things? Can you level the skill up without a guild? Would you want to?
So almost everything for scribing is focused on supporting a guild. So
Right.
it's creating decorations, creating upgrades. There is some non-guild related stuff in there. For example, the amazing backpack that acts as a fully
Yes.
functional printing press. That is not really guild related. That's just awesome. And anyone can make that who becomes a scribe. To become a scribe, you do need to go into a guild hall. And you need to go into a guild hall that has built the upgrade that has the scribing station in it and the scribing NPC. So yeah, you know, it starts through guilds, it opens up through guilds, but the bulk of the items that you craft through scribing are all intended for guilds.
Cool. Can we rearrange the order of our guilds or otherwise control which guild gets which number in chat? So this is specifically about guild chat.
Yes, you can move them around and control which chat channel goes to which guild.
Thank you, Colin.
You may. Yes.
Yes, indeedy. Alrighty. Another question. Will guild bankers still exist outside of the Lion's Arch office, like the one in Divinity's Reach, like the bank in Divinity's Reach?
You know, I don't remember if we're keeping those or not. That is
Okay.
a great question. Yeah,
TBD?
I'll have to go back and double check on that one. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Stay tuned to the forums for that one, I guess. All right. When doing the instance to claim a guild hall, how is it decided who gets the claim? Let's suppose you have 2 guilds teaming up.
Yeah.
Does credit go to both guilds, the first to get to the center to claim, or whichever started the instance?
So when you load the instance to begin your guild expedition, you basically get a drop-down menu at the entrance to that guild location that tells you which guild that you're a member of currently either owns a guild hall in that location or is running an expedition in that area. Or if you're in a party or a squad, which guild is running an expedition that you're going to be able to help them with. So it is owned by a specific guild when they're running the expedition. You'll be able to see when you load in which guild owns it, select that one, and then go play it with them. And at the end of it, whichever guild was owning that expedition, whoever kicked it
Okay.
off, they're the one who get it at the end.
Okay.
So if a bunch of guilds want to help each other, they all can take turns and each run the expedition.
Got it. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. I think we talked a little bit about this before. We know that merits and influence are both going obsolete with Heart of Thorns. What about guild commendations? Do we
So-
need to worry about spending what we have now, or will those cross over when Heart of Thorns is released?
So guild commendations will continue. You can still earn them from doing guild missions, and we're going to continue to focus on adding more cool things that you can spend your guild commendations on. So it might be worth even holding on to them until the expansion ships and see what cool options become available for you to purchase with them. Certainly they will remain a personal currency that you get for doing guild-related content, and we want to have cool rewards that tie to doing that.
Cool. Just a few more. Will we use our PvE gear and skills in the arena, or is it possible to use the SPVP mechanic for faster and a lot cheaper build attributes, runes, sigil swap, that kind of stuff?
So it is all PvE world versus world based builds and skills. So it really focuses on those 2 game modes and the builds that you would use in those. We already have custom arenas for practicing in PvP. We
Right.
feel like that's a totally great place and home for PvP related stuff, and for competitive PvP related stuff. And PvE world versus world, the arena is balanced around that.
Is there a way for a guild to speed up the progression on Guild Arena upgrade faster than the anticipated 2 months?
So the 2 months that we talked about yesterday is the current minimum of, if you are doing Favor and Ethereum, the amount that
Right.
you're able to generate per week. It would take about 2 months to be able to build it if you're doing all the upgrades that come before it. I think there are really two big pieces of feedback that came out of everything from this week. That I think stood out above the rest. That was one of them was, hey, you know, for those of us who really are excited about the arena, we feel like 2 months is a long time. And certainly we'll talk about that as a team and decide if that's something that we want to address feedback-wise. The other one was karma is a cost for basic decorations, and PvP players really don't have a clear path for earning karma. And so we've heard that as well, and we're going to go back and take a look and discuss as a team what we want to do about that. So those are two really big feedback pieces we've heard, and we're actively discussing at least. We can't put guild halls into a beta event, unfortunately, or it would break every single guild on live horribly. So this week is dedicated as trying to give a deep dive so we could get feedback like this before we ship.
Right.
And it's been really valuable for that. There's in particular those two things, but there's been a bunch of other small little feedback pieces that people have brought up over this week that we've gone in and made some tweaks on as well. Cool. So we'll talk about those. I'm not going to promise anything. We have some pretty good reasons why, progression-wise. There's a bunch of other things that have to happen in the lifetime of a guild before you can do certain other stuff. But there might be room for us to have some wiggle room with that. And certainly the karma cost for decorations I thought was totally valid feedback, and we'll talk about that too.
Cool. Good to know. We hear you.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so I think an earlier stream this week made it sound like there is a set order in which you can build up your guild hall, like tavern, mine, workshop. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's relatively open-ended in the upgrade path, but there are some specific things. Like if you want to think of it like it's like SimCity or a city builder or like an RTS where there's a building order and an upgrade order that you go through. Our guild hall system is very similar to that.
Okay.
You have anything that you click on an upgrade will tell you the path that you need to unlock to get there. It's actually really, really nice technology. It grays out the ones you don't need. It puts little boxes around the steps that you need to do. But there's a general upgrade path of like when you get in there, you have to get your guild hall, and then once you've got your guild hall, your tavern has all the proprietors show up. Once you got a tavern, then you can build a mine, and a mine allows
the tavern is the first thing.
It has to be. You need the place to hang out and drink before you actually go work on it.
We should have some more buildings around here or something.
We should go build a mine. Yeah.
Sounds like a great idea. I love it.
And so certainly there are things like that kind of go in an order, and then it opens up more the higher level you get to, where you get a lot of options to pick from. There are a bunch of things that are gated on guild level, and getting various upgrades increases your guild XP, which raises your guild level. So you can really choose to do them in an order that you're excited about. So you can say, this is the stuff we're most excited about. We'll do those upgrades first, and that'll help us level up to get to more upgrades that come later.
Right.
But there is some things you have to do in order no matter what.
Cool. Okay. Perfect.
And that will become more important as we continue to add more upgrades and potentially new buildings, things like that in the future.
Right.
Is more and more that will layer back to having requirements of things that came before it.
Gotcha. Alrighty. How feasible is it for guilds to liberate their guild hall in the first weekend after launch?
It is totally feasible.
Not surprising if it happens like pretty quickly.
Yeah, the expedition that you run to capture your guild hall is in the jungle. The guild hall locations are actually in the world map, as part of the world in a real location, which means your guild actually has to get there and then be able to run the expedition. But I think certainly, it is possible that guilds could have captured it within that first week.
Exciting.
I'm trying to remember. I think if I remember it correctly, you have to run some guild missions to get enough favor to purchase the expedition, to be able to run the expedition to claim your guild hall. And I think you can get enough favor in the first week of guild missions to be able to run the expedition. I'll have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure in the first week you can get it. Certainly within the second week, there's no way in the world you would not be able to go get it, but I think in the first week you can.
Okay. Cool. Well done.
Thanks.
Just fired them off like a pro.
I wish I remembered all of those details.
I think you're like batting like a really good number. I don't know baseball. That was really terrible. Okay, anyway.
I'll take it.
All right. You're doing a great job, Colin. Let's go with that.
You too.
Aw, thanks. But to close out, we are 3 weeks from launch.
Oh my God. 3 weeks. I've got to go.
Yeah.
No, I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
Okay,
yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Feels good.
21 days. I can't believe that.
It's been a heck of a year.
Dude, I thought it was January like last week, I swear.
Yeah.
We were just announcing this thing, and now it's like nearly done. But yeah, last beta weekend event before launch is this weekend. Tons of cool stuff to check out there. Just an update for you guys. There's actually no guild chat next week, which is crazy considering we had, I don't even know how many episodes since TwitchCon. And poor Ruby is still out sick too, so please get some rest this weekend. But we will be back in a couple of weeks, and then the week after that is going to be a party. because it'll be Heart of Thorns launching, so that'll be super exciting. But yeah, let's wrap it up and let you guys get on to playing in the beta.
Yeah, have a great time in the beta this weekend, folks. Good luck raiding.
Give us your feedback.
Yes, please post on the forums. You know, any outlet that you use to discuss. We'll be in game all weekend, so please let us all know as well what you see. Yeah, we really appreciate the feedback. We cannot reinforce enough how important it is to our development team that you guys give this feedback, and that we really do take it seriously and we use it to modify the game. And the bulk of the work we're doing for the next 3 weeks is basically just reacting to the feedback from this weekend and our own internal play testing and making the game better, which is a pretty awesome place to be. Pretty much we're just at a point now where it's just, let's just fix anything we see that we need to make better, and then we'll put this thing out there and we'll all be playing it live with you guys really soon.
Yeah.
It's crazy. 3 weeks is going to fly by.
Yeah, don't tell me that.
Yeah, it's going to fly by. Yeah.
We should get going then.
Feel better soon, Ruby.
Feel better soon, Ruby. We miss you. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.